There's one calling on my left and one calling on my right. Well, good morning everybody. Thanks for joining me. Today it is going to be a really hot day. High is supposed to be 90, so I'm out this morning and my plan is to head out and explore along a nice brook. So I'm hoping that since I'll be out in the morning and I'll be around water, there's still going to be some activity around. There's still a good amount of birds that are foraging around, and I'm hoping that maybe there'll be some activity there. I was here 2 days ago and I actually saw my first of the year Louisiana Waterthrush, and I also saw a hooded merganser that was on the water as well. I just heard a kingfisher flying over, so let's head out and see what we can find. I see Louisiana Waterthrush. I'm gonna see if I can get into position. Awesome. It's foraging along the opposite bank, so that's good. Hopefully if I get into position on this side, try to get ahead of it, hopefully it'll come over this direction. So there's at least 2 of them now. They're flying all over the place. This is really exciting because when I came here the other day to do some scouting to see what was around, there was only one. So that's awesome. The 2 water thrushes moved farther down the brook, so I'm going to head out and move farther up the brook this way because there's actually some more rocks and stuff in the water that is where they forage on, so I'm hoping that there'll be some more activity up that way. There's just a great blue heron that was on the brook, but I saw it too late and it flew up the stream. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to position myself down along the bank somewhere and I can actually look up the brook and watch it. I'm also here in another Louisiana waterthrush farther up the brook, so that is a great sign. So I'm going to try to find a spot to position myself and see what I can get. There's a lot more rocky banks, small little river rocks up in this section, which is the perfect kind of spots where these water thrushes perch on the rocks and they collect insects that are on top of the water or on top of the rocks themselves. So it's kind of little stepping stones for them, which is exactly where this is. And they also nest in the side of the riverbank, kind of in the root mats of trees that are along the banks. And there's quite a few trees that have their roots exposed, so that's a perfect spot for nesting. And especially if these are actually going to be staying here, they might be just passing through and heading farther north, I'm not sure. But there's definitely one calling or one singing up here, which means that it could be establishing some territory. So let's see what we can get. I'm sitting on a rock that's actually in the middle of the brook. I made my way out to it, and this is the perfect spot for Louisiana waterthrush. There's a lot of big boulders behind me in the stream. There's a lot of rocks along the side of the banks, and now I just need to sit and wait and hope something comes along. There's also a lot of perfect branches that are hanging over the water, which are perfect perches for kingfisher, and there's kind of a calm spot back this way in the water, which is like a perfect pool to catch fish in for the kingfisher. So I'm hoping that things will be about. You can never tell. The Louisiana Waterthrush is here. It just perched up on a hemlock that's kind of tipped over the brook. It's just on the far side of it, so I hope it comes down and maybe starts foraging, or at least comes down on an exposed branch that I can see it. It's really tempting to move to try to position myself so I can actually see it, but I'm in such a good spot, I don't want to move and scare it when it could come down and start foraging at any minute. This is frustrating. This is the second time that they're definitely here. They're calling, but they're just not coming down to be able to get any photographs. I waited for a few hours along the brook to see if the water thrush would come back, but I wasn't that lucky. The temperature was really starting to heat up, and I hadn't heard the water thrush singing for a few hours, so I decided to pack up and head out. I did decide, however, to come back out the next morning, when hopefully I would have more luck with cooler temperatures and a little bit of rain. I was walking down the trail this morning to head to my spot along the stream, and there's at least 4 northern flickers that are calling up in the treetops, and they're trying to figure out if they're going to mate or not. They keep going back to this nesting cavity in a dead sycamore tree, but they're just up there dancing right now. I hear the water thrush calling, so that's good. They're still here. There's a kingfisher as well. Awesome. I don't know if you can hear that high-pitched wheezing sound as well. That is a blue-gray gnatcatcher. That's the first I've heard of it this year. So that's another migrant that's come up for the spring. Alright, I'm in position. I'm down along the banks where I've seen the water thrush before, and there are still at least 2 of them. There's one calling on my left and one calling on my right. And so it actually just started to sprinkle a little bit to rain, which is really nice. Creates an awesome atmosphere. So I'm just hoping that these birds will come down and start foraging along the water so I can get some better pictures. They're hidden up in the trees again. So we'll see. I wasn't having much luck where I was, so I actually moved about 20 feet down the brook a little bit, where there's one that's calling directly across from me, and it's been calling for the past 15 minutes or so. I just do not know where it is. I think it's farther back in the tree line, but I went and put on my camouflage to try to see if that would work. And I'm just sitting here now waiting. But as I was sitting here, there's a kind of a large rock face that's directly across the brook from me. And there was a small little winter wren that came out and poked its head out, foraging along the rocks. So that was really neat to see. It's one of those things that's really great about sitting still and just sitting quietly for a little while in one spot, because then things like that will come out, and otherwise you probably would have never even seen that they were there. So it's really neat. It's nice to see, even though I'm not having much success right now with the water thrush. At least I was able to get that. There is also at least one male mallard and one female hooded merganser that's up the brook a little ways, and I was able to get a little bit of footage of them. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait and hope this water thrush comes down. I've been sitting here for probably about 45 minutes now, and I heard a barred owl calling to my left across the brook, and then about 10 minutes later it flew over into the forest on my side of the brook. So I'm going to creep over and see if I can find it. I kind of have a general idea of where it landed, so I'm gonna see if I can do it. I hear the blue jays calling, so let's see if we can find it. I'm not sure if the owl flew already. As I was making my way across the brook down the hill farther, I heard a crow going over towards where the owl had landed, and then only a few seconds later the crow turned around and left. And the blue jays that were calling have stopped, and they were calling farther away, so I'm not sure if the owl just stopped here for a second and then kept going, because I don't see it. It was perched up on this hill in this little stand of trees on top of the hill, and I don't see it, so it may have already flown. But I'm gonna head up to the top and see. There's a good view, good vantage point on top of the hill, so we'll see if I can find anything up there. I made it up to the overlook, and unfortunately I don't think the owl is here anymore. I don't see it in any of the pines, and it has a clear line of being able to get out of here if it wants to. But I'm looking down at the brook and I see a river otter. It is down. There's kind of like a whole bunch of trees that are down, and it is currently kind kind of down by all those trees, so I'm gonna see if I can get down there and get some videos of this. Awesome, totally unexpected. Alright, I have myself set up. I can have a pretty clear view of where the otter was when I saw it on top of the hill. I'm kind of tucked up behind a log and have some hemlock as some cover, so I'm hoping that it'll come back out. I haven't seen it in about 5 minutes now, so fingers crossed. Hopefully it'll come back out. Alright, I've moved down in front of the log because there's actually a little bit of a bank here. So I'm down in where the water has eroded the bank, kind of tucked in a rock and kind of a tree ball here. So I haven't seen the river otters at all since I've been here, but there is a Louisiana Waterthrush and it was down foraging on these rocks in front of me. So I'm hoping that by getting down a little bit lower, I'll be able to get some better images of it if it comes back. Well, the Louisiana Waterthrush came. I was able to get some great pictures of it and some video of it. And it's since flown back into the forest now, so I'm not sure if it's going to come back or not. But actually, while I was sitting here waiting for the thrush to come back, there was an eastern phoebe doing some interesting behavior. It actually perched up on a stick that was overlooking the brook, and then it actually flew into the water to catch an insect off of the surface of the water, I suspect. So it did this a couple of times, and I was able to kind of get it on video one time. So it was really neat behavior, but it would fly in, catch the insect, and then it would spend the next couple of minutes preening, getting dry again. So it's pretty neat behavior, something I haven't seen before. Now I'm just gonna keep sitting here and hope the water thrush comes back. It's starting to get a pretty heavy mist now, so we'll see if we can get anything. With having a little bit of success today, I decided I'd try one more day. So I decided to come back out tomorrow morning. The sun was out and it was going to be a beautiful day. And I was very glad I did, because in the first 5 minutes of showing up in my spot, the water thrush came. But thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little songbird as much as I do. If you get a chance to go out to any fast-flowing water, any brooks or streams near you, try to listen for the song of the Louisiana Waterthrush, and hopefully you'll be able to spot it as well. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.